I'm not your gossip girl, I'm the headline. Truth with a curve, baby, redefine. Welcome to the thirst trap. All the truth looks good in a tight wrap. We talk love, power, soul, and sin. Turn the world on, let the light in. Yeah, the thirst trap. All the truth looks good in a tight. You'll drink it up, it's the real you. They betray the first real rules, where every headline's a revelation.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Luna. We're back with Thirst Trap News. Are you excited? Listen, America, tonight I want to start with a truth that is uncomfortable. It's inconvenient, but it's absolutely necessary to say out loud. If you think social engineering is only happening in other countries, you're already inside the operation. We have this fantasy that psychological warfare involves tanks in the streets, soldiers at the door, or obvious dictators barking orders. But modern control doesn't work that way. Modern control works quietly, friends, comfortably. That slow drip, it works invisibly. It works through screens, through headlines, through narratives repeated as often as they stop sounding like opinions and start sounding like reality. And it's happening right here in America under our noses. We're watching global social engineering play out in real time, not just shaping what Americans think, but shaping what Americans are allowed to think. But shaping what Americans are allowed to notice. What are we allowed to question? What are we allowed to grieve? And what we're told to ignore. That's not an accidental thing. This isn't chaos. This is pure design. Psychological operations don't require you to believe everything you're told. They only require you to react emotionally instead of thinking critically. They require you to live in a constant state of outrage, fear, tribal loyalty, big part, and moral confusion. And look around. It's working. Americans are exhausted. They're divided. They're angry. They're distracted. And they're emotionally flooded. We're fighting each other over narratives that were like hand selected for us, while the people shaping those narratives remain untouched, unchallenged, and unseen. That's social engineering. The media plays a very critical role in this, not because every journalist is evil, but because the system itself rewards narrative obedience over truth. Stories are framed. They're not just reported. Don't you miss the good old days when you could trust the news? Context is omitted. Language is weaponized. Case in point, Trump and the BBC situation. Now, notice how certain events dominate the news cycles for weeks, while others, equally horrific or worse, barely get a mention. Notice how some victims are humanized endlessly, while others are reduced to statistics or erased entirely. The selective outrage is not compassion, it's conditioning. And this is where we have to be honest about something that no one wants to talk about. We hear constantly about the need to protect Jewish people from anti-Semitism. Sure, that matters. Hatred against Jews is evil. But at the same time, hundreds of thousands of Christians have been slaughtered, persecuted, imprisoned, and erased for centuries, and it continues today. And the media barely whispers about it. Entire Christian villages are wiped out. Churches burned, families executed for their faith. And yet, silence. Why? because we are so concerned about repeating over and over where we aren't bigoted in one area. Why? Because social engineering doesn't eliminate morality. It redirects it, like I was just explaining. There seems to be an obsession in a couple areas, but no one wants to talk about the persecution of Christians happening all around the world. It tells you who deserves your empathy and who doesn't. What suffering is acceptable to acknowledge and what suffering must remain invisible. That's social engineering. And when a society stops seeing certain people as worthy of attention, truth, or protection, it's not just political, it's spiritual. This is why I keep saying we are in a spiritual war. You guys hear me say it almost every show. It's not metaphorical. It's a real one. Good versus evil doesn't always show up as violence. Sometimes it shows up as confusion, as inversion, as lies wrapped in virtue, as truth labeled dangerous and silence labeled peace. Evil thrives when people stop questioning and when they outsource their conscience to the media, when they let their emotions override discernment. So if this level of manipulation is happening globally, and it is, it's happening here, and it's the supposed freest nation on earth, then the question isn't if we're under psychological attack. The question is, are we awake enough to resist it? Because the battlefield is not just elections or policies, it's your mind, your perception, your ability to tell the truth from a narrative. And the way you fight this war isn't by becoming angrier. It's by becoming clearer, by questioning emotionally charged stories, by noticing what's missing, by refusing to let the media decide your morality for you, by staying spiritually anchored when the world is trying to pull you into confusion. If you can control how someone thinks, you never have to control them physically. And that's why this matters. That's why we're talking about it tonight. Because freedom doesn't disappear overnight. It erodes quietly, slowly, while people are distracted. And the first step in fighting evil, seeing it. Now, let's get into the show and break it all down. I am so happy to see all of you with me tonight. DM Perez. He says, social engineering is designed to create faux issues where the populace believe that the government is needed for all aspect of your life. Yeah, it's that whole concept of like government is daddy. Yeah. And that's like not okay. The only daddy we have is the divine. Let's see. Let me look over here. Rumble. Hey, Frank and Vic. Nice. Skinny Max? I don't know what that is. Skinemax. I said screw the TV. Yeah, TV. Man, these phones. Here's the crazy thing about like the smartphone, the internet, Bluetooth, like all these like convenience things, all these things that make it possible to like share truth immediately also makes it immediate to like spread lies. And it's just like, it's like spoon fed right into our palms. I mean, shit, our bodies are fucking growing into the shape of like looking at palms. You know the amount of people that are getting a hunch on their back? I looked that up statistically. I can't remember the statistic. I'll probably look it back up. But like people's bodies are starting to like commonly carry a certain shape from looking at being buried in the phones, looking down like this. Like this thing is evil and you need to use it. It's like having a pet snake. You know, you're not gonna treat it like you treat your dog. You realize the snake is dangerous slightly, but you know. Or it's like my grandfather's pet alligators that he had. I knew they were dangerous, but I understood why he had them. When you have 40 acres, moats are real things. My grandfather was wild. Okay, so let me read what I got on the menu for you guys tonight. And at the end of the show, we will be going into the fan of the day segment. The fan of the day is really just a little fun not silent contest, but I guess the thoughts in my head are silent. But it's like just based on the vibes. I just picked the fan of the day, and you guys get my signed autographed show notes with a little lipstick kiss because my logo's, got the lips. So, and you message producer Ryan, which will give you that information, and we will on how you want us to get it to you, and we will do that. And you can frame it and put it in your like pool room, garage. Every Monday they get mailed out, so don't get antsy. I don't respond well to very demandy things. Okay, on the menu, MIT nuclear professor shot and killed. Charlie argues the Bible. Tucker Carlson exposes Mark Cuban. Cha-ching. Candace versus Piers. How much does God love you? Erica's rise. Gender affirming care is illegal on minors. Did our government commit treason? Is Charlie Kirk alive? Trump is our first Jewish president. And liberal media lying again. By the way, I haven't seen these videos, so this is blind reaction. Don't judge me. I give my opinions on these things. Hey, Backwater, how you doing? I see you in the chat before we get into the show. Let me say hey to everybody. Hey, Jack. Stenzinger. Steve, welcome. Haven't seen you before. Backwater. Jack says, hey, gorgeous. Mwah. Operation Konoa. Dun, 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 dun. Net Poser. I've seen you before. I see Miss Beth. Wow, what a wonderful thing to be graced with my auntie, my adopted auntie's in there. She watching me. Yay. Craig. Victoria's. Okay. All right. Data. I see you, Data. Data just entered the house. Whoop, whoop. Y'all gonna let me win again if y'all ain't careful. Frank gets hype. Yeah, y'all gotta compete with Frank. Frank is my Flava Flav. He's like my hype man. He's like, yeah, girl, you got this, girl. And then of course Data. Data's always super loyal, super faithful. Good to see you, brother. All right, let's get into our first video. MIT nuclear professor shot and killed. If you guys don't think that like we're at war, you need to freaking wake up. Like seriously, they just don't want to alarm everybody because they know how many guns are like, how many citizens have guns. But it's clear to me that we are at war with something. Something is happening because here we are. Here's another thing going on. MIT nuclear professor. Oh, and the NASCAR guy today. His plane, the NASCAR guy, context. The NASCAR guy who helped the Hurricane Helene victims in the mountains of the Appalachia, where I am from, get water because the government was damn fucking ignoring them, actually stealing their food and diverting it. Shame on you, FEMA. Biden's FEMA. Fuck you for that. So good citizens had to take the job on themselves. This was one of the ones that did that, and now his plane went up in a fiery inferno. MIT nuclear professor shot and killed. Here we go, folks.
We are living in some really weird times right now. Just looking at the news, an MIT nuclear professor was shot and killed in his own home. This wasn't your average scientist either. This guy led MIT's Plasma and Fusion Center. He was a leading plasma physicist coming from Portugal, and he was recognized by some of the top scientists in all of the world. And this is really odd because scientists and professors don't just get shot in their...
Jack said Greg, oh shoot, I took my glasses off. Greg Biffley? I don't know how to say it. Biffle. Thank you, Pocket and Jack.
Home. And obviously, the killer is on the run. And speaking of killers on the run, the Brown University shooter is also on the run. And we got
This is the thing that sticks out to me. I cannot understand. There's 3 layers to this thing that bothers me with this the Brown University thing. I guess we'll see how this goes with this MIT thing. But look at this. In 33 hours, supposedly, Kash Patel finds Charlie Kirk's shooter. But Brown University, oh yeah, and Luigi Mangione. How long did that took a long time, right? That took more of like a realistic time frame to find Luigi Mangione, right? Okay, so then the Brown shooter, the police chief, they can't find this guy. This police chief was literally like getting blackballed at the departments he was working at before because he doesn't know what he's doing or doesn't care, or something's wrong with this man. And he seems like a DEI hire at Brown University. But I watched the presser for, he literally had no clue and had people he could ask on the stage, like the chief of police for the campus. He didn't even know if they had video on their dashboards. They don't know how many kids were in the class because it was a study group and not all the kids come to class. Shut up. Like, all of this nothing makes sense anymore. This is the Truman Show. There is no spoon, folks. There is no motherfucking spoon.
an update. Don't worry. Here's a picture of the law enforcement, or a video of them doing some type of strategy to find the killer, maybe the footsteps or something that he dropped. I mean, this is going viral on social media for obvious reasons. What are we doing? It's almost 2026 and this is what you're doing. At least do it when no one's looking. Like, you're just embarrassing yourself. It's been 3 days since a killer shot up one of the top universities in all of the country, and this is what we get. A very blurry picture of a guy dressed up in all black in a beanie, and you're showing us your search tactics. Also, here's footage of the alleged killer walking right past law enforcement after he did it. I mean, if we get more updates, I'll keep you guys updated, but...
So here's the thing. This is what makes me... I have so many thoughts that come in through my head about this. One, I have seen firsthand the incompetency of police. What's happening here makes Charlie Kirk's death way, like the narrative we're being fed from the FBI, way more unbelievable now watching this happen. Because it's more believable to me that we have a unqualified chief of police, or maybe I'm getting that wrong, and all of this stuff going on, lack of experience, like whatever. I don't know. But it's making this is just making me look at Charlie Kirk's investigation going like, yeah, I don't know. That seems like everything was just hand fed on with Charlie. The chaos of this is I've just already been looking into it, and it is literally because of they have the most incompetent staff. This is the thing with DEI, and the reason why I that's my opinion that it's DEI is because look at the culture that exists there. It's like one of the most liberal universities. Unfortunately, the Black community is super in love with DEI because they don't want to work for anything. They just want to be fucking handed everything. Sorry, folks. Sorry if that pisses you off, but it's the truth in my eyes, based on my experiences in life, having a family who is Black, and being part of it. So this looks like the chaos of people who don't qualify to have their job. Now, do I see a conspiracy in it yet? I don't know. Had a lot going on the last couple days, so this one is like a lot for me. This one just looks like DEI hiring to me. But I just want to know, like, just why I'm sorry, I can't get off the Charlie Kirk death thing. It's just like, it means so much to me spiritually. I can't understand why people are looking, like, use this situation to compare, like, really? Anyway, I don't know. Production wants me to look at something really quick. Okay. Charlie argues the Bible. Let's go to the next video.
And is that correct? Israel wants the New World Order. They're the synagogue of Satan.
I like watching Charlie Kirk videos now. I didn't keep up with Charlie like that. What I understood about Charlie was that he was a man of his convictions. He did not sacrifice on his principles. I knew the gist of what he stood for. I was raised evangelical doomsday Christian cult. So like there was a period when Charlie was having his come up, there was a period of time where that was during a period of time where I was having a crisis when it came to religion. So there were certain things about Charlie at the time that kind of would trigger me. Not that I disagreed with him. I would just feel triggered by the trauma of growing up in a cult. So I would just like skip him sometimes. But when he died, like I felt that energetically. I felt a piece of the light. Something shifted. I felt movement spiritually. And so I've been going back to his videos and watching everything. And I'm glad that that's my journey, because I've gone through now reconcile with myself spiritually and, realized that I was fed the Judeo-Christian version, not real Christianity. So now that I've gotten to a place where I understand Christianity, I'm not very comfortable with myself. So I started looking back into Charlie, and it hurt when that happened to him. It really, really hurt. So, Data says, my life isn't that important to share. However, save the kids. I hope the Senate passes the MTG bill to protect the kids from blockers and plates. Yes, that is on the list. I am so excited for that. MTG pioneered that. I lost a child to the epidemic of sick pedophilic cults putting their tentacles into the school system, searching for troubled children. So that is the reason why I do this show. It just kind of is I didn't expect that my pet project on fighting the trans movement would lead me into so many Israel things. Like, what the hell? Which made so much sense to me, realizing growing up in a Judeo-Christian household, like so many have happened to me in this last year. And things have come around, full circle in ways in my life that I just never, ever thought possible. And I'm a flawed woman. I'm not trying to sound special or nothing. I'm just saying that even being ornery, feisty, traumatized, abused, prone to being scrappy, even I was able to untangle that mess and understand, Jesus' message. And so that's what I like about Charlie, is he tries to get them to see the difference between especially in the Protestant umbrella, there's so much Jewish culture woven into your religion, and it gets exhaustive under those rules. You feel so imperfect all the time, and it becomes like a self-deprecating culture. And true Christianity actually builds you up, and you feel closer to God, not more shameful. So anyway, that's my rant on that. Here we go.
And it says so in Revelation, Charlie.
It doesn't say that.
In the Bible, it says that there will be a group of people who call themselves the chosen people of Yah, but they are the synagogue of Satan.
There's also Revelation 3:9, which is an important one too.
We have been lied to since the beginning of this country. Jews, Freemasons, all of it's a satanic agenda. Israel is the synagogue of Satan. They're killing innocent people in Palestine over the guise of sovereignty. New World Order is coming, Charlie.
Guys, anti-Semitism is literally a brain cancer, as you could see.
Yes, it is. But there's more Semites than just the Jews. Like, why do we always picture only the Jews? Like, truth be told, anti-Semitism, like, there's many cultures that are Semitic. And, like, honestly, basing anything off race is freaking caveman bullshit. Like, So to tie everything back to something racial is my first clue that you are part of the devil, because it, like, seriously, we've evolved past the caveman fucking level of thinking. Yes, tribalism will always be a thing, but that's because we feel safety in what is familiar. But holding each other accountable is the spiritual aspect. So anyway, fucking another lunar rant. Sorry, here we go.
It's anti-Semitic, Charlie. The modern Jews are not the true chosen people of Yah. They created their own country in the 1940s. They established this is their doctrine, the Yebahamath 11b. That the little girl is permitted if she is 3 years of age. Charlie, as a man of Yah, how can you justify?
As a man of Yah, okay, I have a problem with that right there. So Yah, no, Yahweh is the Hebrew name, for God. That's the Jewish umbrella. The literal English translation from Yahweh is Jehovah. Not a lot of people have put this together. Remember the Jamaicans? You know the Jamaicans? My mom's Caribbean. The Jamaicans, we run across the Jamaicans. They're very big into Jah, hallelujah. You ever notice JAH? That's the short for Jehovah. So hallelujah, they're big into the Zion, the whole Rasta culture. Not all the Jamaicans, the Rasta culture. So this Yah thing, like, no, as a believer in Yah, like, I don't believe that Yahweh is the God of all things. Me, personally, Luna's spiritual journey, and I've had some very profound moments that have saved my life. Luna now understands quantum, some bits of quantum science that needs to be understood to understand the world around. And I understand that God, capital G, capital O, capital D, is a whole other thing that is both finite and infinite, and that Yahweh is a God in a lower quantum realm, higher than our 3D plane. That Jesus is the form of the divine that manifested into human form to give the worshipers of Yahweh the key to their freedom and yet all of humanity's freedom, because the Jews and the Israelites were being oppressed by the Pharisees because they were coming up with law after law after law after law. And this is something that the cult of big business Christianity does too. They make sure that penance is paid to the church by making your natural inclinations sinful. It is natural to be loving. You have to be jaded into the belief system you are in. So Jesus was trying to draw everyone back to that inner child space. The kingdom of God is within you. Back to realizing your connection to Mother Earth, the divine Father, and then him as a vessel for exploring if the human race is worth saving. Because I'm sure if the divine, all energy that is self-aware, was deciding on another delete of this quantum tie line, maybe there was something somewhere where the divine was like, you know what? Maybe I just need to experience what it's like being a human before I make this decision, because they are a higher form. These are my muses in life. These are my muses that people look at me and go, oh my God, you're so fucking crazy sometimes. But what I've realized is the only matter of concern is spiritual. It literally is the answer for everything. Every decision you make in your life, this is what recovery teaches you. Every decision you make in your life, no matter if it is what to eat for breakfast or what book to buy, what clothes to wear, what color nail polish, what school to attend, what church to go to, what synagogue to go to, what temple to go to, what dance school to go to, what sports team to, whatever. whatever the decision is that face you, if you continue making decisions as a physical person, you will continue to experience life in the hardest, roughest way possible. If you make decisions spiritually, no matter how small, no matter how big, you make it in accordance with divine will, which we all know instinctually what that is. We all have our purpose to serve. Some of us are malevolent, others of us are benevolent, and it is up to us to realize what our purpose is. But you have to live spiritually in all matters. And that's like what the theme is to my show all the time. This whole fucking thirst trap thing, it's a freaking, like, some simpletons don't get it. But as you watch the show, you get it. But let's get back to Charlie. Oh my God, I gotta stop ranting. I don't know what's up with me today. I'm like fucking, I didn't do a show yesterday, so I had a break, and I think that gave me time to like recharge. All right, let's go.
That's disgusting.
But you're supporting them.
No, time out.
And is that correct? Israel wants the New World Order. They're the synagogue of Satan. It says so in Revelation, Charlie.
Oh,
It
so
doesn't
did this
say
start
that.
over?
In the Bible,
Yes,
it says
did.
that they're...
Okay, so we saw the whole. I really give this kid such kudos for really trying to call out the fact that the scripture, in fact, did say that there will be a group. In fact, can we pull up the browser screen? Let me open up a because this one says this is Revelation 2:9. I don't like the King James version, but if you could pull up, yeah, he's gonna pull up. There's another one, 3:9, in Revelation where it talks about, hey Byron, where it talks about basically the wolf in sheep's clothing. Revelation 3:9, I believe. I could be wrong. Okay, yes. So it's also, so this was a theme through the book of Revelation. Okay, so it was very important. They wanted us to realize that in the last days, before in the time of Armageddon or apocalypse or whatever you fucking consider it to be, it could be a meteor. God is going to use the forces of nature, and I believe angelic intervention eventually. But it says in Revelation 3:9 that Jesus promises the faithful church in Philadelphia that he will make his enemies, those from the, quote, synagogue of Satan, end quote, parentheses, liars coming to be Jews but opposing believers, close parentheses, come and bow down before them, acknowledging that God loves his true people. This is, when I talk about the Jews and the Zionists and all this shit, some of these freaking people on here do not understand what I'm talking about. I am talking about liars claiming to be Jews. And I've actually featured Hasidic Jews on here saying, no, hold on a second. That's not what real Judaism is. We are talking about the warning from the scriptures that those who are liars claiming to be Jews, people like my suspicion, Bibi Netanyahu, who wants to pretend to be a Jew, who doesn't even have a slight accent of someone who even speaks Hebrew, by the way, and keeps saying, oh, we need money for this in the name of Judaism, and we need money for this in the name of our persecution, and we need money for the name of this, and we keep freaking shelling out money to the wolf in sheep's clothing that is actually the terrorist going around. It is really infuriating because I don't want my dollars funding terrorist activity that is to further continue the Bible said that the sons of Isaac and Jacob will be freaking cursed till Armageddon. This is not our war. This is not our problem. We do not need to be funding any of this stuff because clearly someone has been lying to our leaders, tickling their ears and or guilting them into constantly giving them money. And when I found out that Israeli women don't have to work right now. They don't have to work right now in raising babies. Please prove me wrong if I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But because they're at war right now, they're getting paid American dollars to stay at home and have babies on American dimes when we have people in our country that need it way more than them, because these are people that went to serve in the wars that they petitioned us to fight in. It makes me so mad. So don't get it fucked up. I'm not going after the things that they're gonna try to make it look like I'm going after. No, I'm going after the liars and the fakers and the pretenders who are greedy and want world power and use religion as the shield to do atrocities. I mean, we are no longer the pawns in the king's chess game. These are the most powerful men on the planet playing Game of Thrones and moving us around like we're pawns, and some of us knights and some of us bishops. There's a problem when Israeli women are living more comfortably than American women. I don't fucking care. I am staunchly a patriot. I want my freaking American dollars to go here to an American-born liberal asshole that I would disagree with over a foreigner. Because I have principles. And it doesn't matter my personal feelings towards some of these freaks that walk around in America that are confused and traumatized and need therapy and someone to hug them and love them and say, you are fine just exactly how you are and you don't need to go through these lengths to belong. Just because you're white doesn't make you inherently wrong. Like, all of this has to stop. If we are forced to celebrate any other culture, we will celebrate whites too. No more white guilt. I'm about what's right and wrong, folks. I'm not about blindly supporting kings and priests and presidents. Like, they have to prove their loyalty to me as an American citizen. American citizens are the highest taxed people on the planet. Everyone else, as far as I'm concerned, has to prove to me why I should give them any money, including my president. And especially if I'm going to be critical of my own president, I don't have time to think about like anybody else trying to use America as an ATM. The answer is just no. We have bigger problems here at home. Go away. LaFleur says, we've been hearing that shit since the 60s. Yes, we are the highest taxed people on the planet. So fuck off, all of you. That means we are fucking king and queen. The citizens here, the fucking legal, no, not even the legal ones. The natural born ones are the kings and queens on this planet. Fuck a monarchy. Fuck all that shit. Fuck all that shit. All of that shit. God gave you your natural rights. Ain't not a fucking soul can take it from you. Thanks, hubs, in the chitty chat. Leah said, lead the way with America only, Luna. Look, it's like, I get it. I don't care if people tell me I'm going to sound like a fucking fascist, Nazi. I really don't care. I'd rather be called a fascist than a communist. But I love my fucking country. I was born in 1985 and I've watched beautiful things get torn apart. And if anything, I wish that the Native Americans weren't all but extinct, because their culture and their colors should have just been honored here. And we should have just been happy to like see the beauty in their entire culture. But no, don't get me started on that. I'm just about the fact that I don't like taking away history. That includes, I don't like any of the statues taking it down. I don't mind. I don't care about like talking about slave owners. Like I can recognize other good things that they've done for this country, because if there's a monument made after them, that means they did something else that got them there. It wasn't the slavery, because actually it was like the whole world had slaves, and in America 1.6 or 1.9% of whites had slaves in the first place. So that's why I'm saying get rid of the fucking white guilt. It's an illusion. The odds are that if you're white, the odds are more in favor that your relatives and ancestors never had slaves. So get over it. This country is not inherently racist any more than any other country through the history of time, because even animals battle for territory. So Red MAGA gang just missed a fucking wonderful rant. Hey, Joe Lopez, with my last namesake. LaFleur says they've been pushing the anti-white agenda forever. And I'm half white, so like offended. I'm offended. I'm fucking offended. Okay. Let's watch. Okay, so Mark Cuban has always seemed to have like the soft man body to me, like the spoiled bitch body. Sorry, Mark. It's my opinion. Sorry. And I know Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is very much an alpha. He cannot be dominated. So this is going to be interesting. Thank you, LaFleur. Mwah. The other two parts of me is I'm black and Asian. So I'm white in order of percentage. White, black, Asian, Greek, Italian, Native American. Oh, the white is Scottish, Scandinavian. Okay.
I think we should help, but I don't have a studied answer for
pause.
you.
So help, what he's talking about, I'm reading the comments. So what he's talking about helping on, Mark Cuban, is sending aid to Ukraine.
How much money have you sent to Ukraine?
None.
Oh, so what do you mean by we? You're the one whose family's from Ukraine. Like, why don't you send them $1 billion?
Because I'm trying to fix healthcare.
Why don't you fix their healthcare if you're like so deep? If you think we need to help, why don't you start?
People,
How about you
bro.
first? Yeah. I notice that's never like even an option for anybody. It's like, we need to help. That's not what charity is.
Hey, y'all, these bangs, I just cut them like a few days ago, and I don't know what to do with myself. Someone on my page was like, I don't want to hear about your whining about your bangs. And I was like, fair point. But also, like, the cameras in production are so different from your phone. Like, I keep getting confused on which way to I just learned how to use my hands today. It's the first time I discovered having hands. I woke up in this body today. All right, my point stands, LaFleur says. Aw, you're sweet. Hang out with me. You guys remember, for all you guys that weren't here for the beginning of the show, you missed a monologue where I kind of like put my thoughts for the day together before we react to videos, and then I will have a closing monologue and then a fan of the day. And the fan of the day is just who can give me the best like vibes. And I will send you my signed show notes, autographed show notes, and with a lipstick kiss, you know, keeping in true Thirst Trap News fashion, you know, so everyone can just tell me I'm a slut and a hoe and trashy. All right. That was beautiful. Tucker Carlson can be annoying sometimes. I find his haircut annoying. I just really want to redo his haircut. That's the hairdresser in me of 23 years. I want to give him a grown-up haircut, but, you know, he's just, it's kind of iconic, you know, it's kind of iconic just having a little boy haircut on Tucker Carlson. But I love you, Tucker. I do. As long as your wife is happy, that is all that matters, boo-boo. LaFleur, I'm married. You can have my husband's number, though. Yeah. And by the way, y'all, just so you know, like, we're not that kind of like crazy like people. Like, my Instagram is always signed in on my desktop. Like, production has access to everything. My kid even uploads some of my podcasts for me. So when you freakazoids start to message me in my DMs, just know my family, we're having a good riot and a good laugh. The last guy who was begging for me to sell my lingerie from my Sunday episodes finally blocked himself because I was just like, oh, no, LaFleur. Did you ever see the crazy hot scale? You should watch the crazy hot scale, LaFleur. I've been told like 12 times in my life I'm a unicorn and had no idea what that was for years until I found this old video. And I was like, is this what the fuck they were talking about the whole time? And I was like, I love this because my native people, the Scots, they're like, the unicorn was, I don't know if it is now. I gotta look that up, but I know at one point it was the unicorn, their national, like, is that still their national animal? The unicorn? Let's look it up. You want to type it? Or no, me? Okay. What? I can't believe I don't know this. What is Scotland's? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the unicorn. No, oops, I clicked on the wrong damn thing. The United States dollar in £1 would be 1.34. Animal mascot. There we go. It is the unicorn. I told you. Ha ha ha. Yeah. So I was like, when I kept getting told that I was a unicorn, honestly, I thought they were like trying to basically tell me that I didn't understand it. I'm a little bit autistic. So someone told me, a good friend of mine was like, you need to watch this video. That's what they're talking about. And I was like, oh God, how many boxes am I ticking? I got terrified there for a second. But my homie was like, nah, you're good. But really, he's like a brother to me. So it was okay. It was okay. I know he wasn't like trying to hit on me. So that's how I knew I could take him seriously, that apparently I'm a unicorn. I'm just impossible to find. But here's the thing about unicorns is we're impossible to understand and we're horrible creatures. So don't get close, I guess. You know? I don't know. We're just ungovernable. What can I say? You know? Don't like being told what to do. There's only one thing that can tell me what to do, and that's God, because I have a instant connection. I feel it strong. I don't have to worry about, like, I think I've been through everything now. I've been through all of it. I've been through all the things I've faced, all the challenges. I know God's got more coming, but at least at 40, I can say I really have been through a lot of fucking qualifying shit, and God's got my back. Now I can definitely state that I respond. I respond when I hear God. I do. I watched Piers Morgan's entire episode with Candace, and I just have to say how much I freaking love her because she can just like, she has this way that I admire that it's just like, she doesn't look like she's afraid at all. You know what I'm saying? You can never let them see anything other than pure conviction. And you will not fuck with me. And I love that bitch in her. Like, she's not right about everything all the time, but I love that she's that bitch. Because women like me, I got a sweet side. I got that side of me that's like sweet, you know, because I'm like witchy witch and, you know, I just like a fan of animals and a little libertarian in me. So it's like the girls that have that bitch in them, I'm just like, I admire you. Okay. So let's continue down our wonderful, this is going to be beautiful. I saw the episode, but you know.
Candace, it may be that the person in the media spewing bullshit to the public is you. No, nice try. It's not. It's
Could
you
be.
like saying, why are you asking
Could be.
questions? Don't you worry about Mikey's feelings? Everyone knows what this is. And like I said, because we have the example, the concrete example of after JFK's assassination, the media members quite literally being put on the payroll of the CIA, we have a historical example that we can look at and go, we're not doing that again. Doesn't matter how many times you keep
This point in her interview with him, I was going crazy wishing she could, like, it was real time and that she could hear me through the screen, because what she was trying to explain to Piers Morgan about why she's focusing on the people at TPUSA is because forensically, what's statistically true, especially in murder for hires, is that the people closest to the victim to the target are the ones that orchestrate the access to the target. So what she was trying to say is, when you look at JFK, when you know that forensically, when you look at what happened with JFK, number one, why would they not follow the same exact formula again? Because it worked the first time. I think it was Operation Mockingbird, if I recall. So if it was successful once, it's going to be successful again, especially because of how much time has passed and we have young adults that weren't around for, watching what the boomers went through with all of that. But more importantly, what she was trying to explain is that when you have forensically, statistically, the fact that usually the people, like upwards of 98%, 99%, and this is murder for hires, the people closest to the victim deliver the access to, let's use Charlie as an example. Charlie's going to be backstage at this time getting mic'd up, and then Charlie's going to be sitting exactly right here getting, when he's talking, or Charlie is going to be renting a black vehicle, whatever the thing is. Like, they give information to the next layer up. It's never direct. It's always. So when you follow what happened with JFK and how Lyndon B. Johnson was involved, there's a layer that he played his part in, and then it goes like dominoes down the operation. So, I think this was a hit piece, or an attempted hit piece. I think the cordialities between them is fake. I think Piers Morgan tried really fucking hard in that interview to make her look stupid. But even me, with my background, I could understand what she's putting together instinctually just from following the contradictions. Because the truth can't be hidden, because it's the truth. It can't. When you zoom out after everything and you do a macro view, then it becomes clear who, how, where, when, and why. We're just not in that macro view yet, but her instincts are tapped into it because it's a formula. Human behavior literally is a formula. If you haven't watched, I'm gonna do a reaction to a very long video that y'all gotta be prepared for. This Sean Ryan did an interview for a honeypot Russian spy, and when I'm telling you that people operate in sets of zeros and ones, like our personality, human behavior as mammals on that level is programmed into your DNA. That's your instinctual primal areas of the brain. Then you get into the higher order of being a human and into the psyche. And that also defines humans from animals. But that still has programming. You give a human a certain stimulus, and you're going to see, if you point a gun at a human, you're going to see one of two responses. Possibly three. One, run. Two, grab it and fight them. Or three, duck and fight. Freeze and put your hands up. So, like, he's trying to make her look stupid, but honestly, in my opinion, I think her mission is divine, and I don't think it's going to happen. And I think that all parts of this are, martyrs are a thing, and all parts of the story are divine, in my opinion.
Telling the public that I'm spewing bullshit, it is only because there has not been anything that has come out of this investigation that makes any sense, that the public is not listening to, I am sorry to say this, Piers, people like you. And what I love about you and I sitting down is that this exact same time last year, you were doing the same weird questioning and making all these things when I said that they were committing a Holocaust against the Gazans, and then you changed your mind.
Actually,
Piers,
this time,
I'll see you next year when you change your mind again.
He did feel a little checked after this, too, because he did tell her after, he's like, you know that I like you and support you personally. I'm just telling you my honest opinion. If he's being honest about this, great. I get where he's coming from, because a lot of people are not that bold. And here's another sad truth, Miss Candace. And this is a compliment. It's not meant as an insult. Not everyone is as smart as you. My old boss, I was a manager of of a salon, and the district leader was having a meeting with me, and he looks at me and he's like, why is it that half of your staff will die on a sword for you and the other half of your staff wants to kill you, just utterly hates you? And we talked about that for a while. And, I just kind of said, because I form leaders, and we compared numbers, and I was like, look at the staff that hates me. Look at their numbers. You tell me why they hate me. Look at the numbers of the staff that love me. You tell me why they love me. And, we were talking, getting deep, and he was just like, Luna, you have to remember, like, not everyone is as smart as you. And I thought he meant that as an insult. And it took me freaking years, because I was so traumatized by my earthly father and my experience with religion. And I couldn't understand what he meant other than negative. I thought he was saying that I was treating people like they were stupid, but that isn't what he was saying. What he was saying is like, not everyone sees what you see so quickly or so easily. And so if Piers Morgan is being genuine, he may be good at having a talk show and asking questions, but that doesn't make him intelligent. So just saying. Anyway, going back to this Instagram video.
And we have more information about what happened. And you realize that the difference between me and you is that I have the courage to take the risks and ask the questions first, okay, before it's popular. You wait until it becomes popular, and then you change your mind.
Candace, it may be.
That's because he's not smart enough to figure it out on his own. He has to wait and watch, like, the public consensus and then lean on the side of, like, the majority, because he doesn't have independent critical thinking. He doesn't. Mr. Badger says Kirk's murder was way more evident than something else went on. Way more than JFK, from the simple fact that there were way more cameras. Yes, it was so much easier to pull off this kind of stuff, 20 years ago. Because now the interconnected framework on the internet is infinite. I mean, do I have any video gaming like fans? I don't know if anybody knows this video game named Mass Effect, but there was a alien that they run across that becomes part of your squad, part of your team, called Legion. And literally, that is the phones. The phones connected to the internet is Legion. We are all one, connected at the same time to a living, breathing internet that's waiting for our interactions. And we are all connected to each other now on a cyber level instantaneously. It can be a beautiful thing when you think about it, and it can be a scary thing when you think about it. And half of me wonders sometimes if Black Mirror's San Junipero is what the Bible was referring to when it was talking about us ascending into perfection and living eternally. You know, I think as primitive human beings, we see that in an organic way. But who knows that it wasn't meant that somehow technology and biotic life becomes one and we become seeded into the cloud. Like, all things are God, just like the fact that good and evil will always be present together at the same time. So it just makes you think about a lot of stuff. LaFleur, I'm just going to call you Seth. It's just fun to say LaFleur. Seth says Kirk was reaching the younger crowd, and that's why I think they got him. Also, he was trying to show the difference between being a Christian versus being a Judeo-Christian, because there is a distinction. And I think he would have caused a big problem when Israel goes around pandering churches for money and trying to take over. You know, he just presented a problem because Charlie Kirk was starting to see the spiritual gods that run this world. And I think he was confronted, had to make a choice, and too much got revealed to him. And he realized too many things up there in the Hamptons. And I think that was the moment of, you know, your organization makes all this money. We're going to absorb you and you cooperate, or we will get rid of you because you have too much worth and we need it. And we can't let you go and create an army of Christians who start to wake up to the fact that I am a spiritualist. I honor, I recognize the divinity of Jesus Christ as my savior, and as he pertains to this era, the task at hand, what is the answer to the evil? I also recognize early human history. So my spiritual beliefs are much more in line with Jesus if you can separate the church from Jesus and realize that he never meant for a cult to start in his name. And that involves acknowledging your role symbiotically with nature, because you cannot come to know God without being one with nature. So I am a spiritualist. I am a Christian spiritualist. That's what I am. And I just posted something today that I'm very much pro cannabis. I have fibromyalgia, so I actually I take about 2 milligrams of cannabis a day, and I am off of pharma now, except for one drug for chronic PTSD that I have to have because I'm neurodivergent, and without that I can't function normally. But other than that, I'm off of all other pharmaceutical drugs and even over-the-counter medicines, just using cannabis and psilocybins. He said, good, see you in heaven one day. I can't introduce my wife who passed away 2 years ago. Oh, special. Your wife is up there with my son and my dad and my cousin Matt and my uncle Kerwin. But yes, cannabis is, an herb, just like a valerian root or anything else. All right, Candace versus Piers. We did that already. How much does God love you? Ooh, what a nice segue. Look at that. Didn't do that on purpose.
My problem is I just don't love God enough. And I say, that's not your problem. That's not your problem. Your problem is you don't understand how much he loves you. Because if you understood how much God loves you, you can't help but love him. When you understand and you feel, now you've heard God loves you all your life, but when you finally feel loved by God, unconditionally loved by God, it changes you. God loves you on your good days as much as he loves you on your bad days. God loves you when you feel it. God loves you when you don't feel it. God loves you when you do the right thing. God loves you when you don't do the right thing, because his love is not based on who you are. It's based on who he is.
That's beautiful.
It's not based on what you do.
And that's why you see so many examples why Jesus' best friends, who were also martyred, keep up with a certain theme that Jesus hung with the people that were, there was a reason why he hung with the undercurrent, the people, the prostitutes, the beggars, all the people that would get kicked and shunned. Like, I can tell you from my own personal experience, before I get too far into my rant, let me just thank Data. Thank you, Data, for the rant. I appreciate you so much. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Merry Christmas. I appreciate your support. Gotta love Wyoming, you know what I'm saying? Mine is doing the same thing. I think I have to like lower the refresh rate or something. Or stop talking about the Jews, production says. Data, you demand. Also, I really hope that B gets in the chat on Instagram. I'm going to pray that B Trash to Cash gets on in Instagram towards the end of the show, because he really deserves fan of the day. He sent a generous donation and he wasn't on that night, so I didn't get to say anything, but you know, anyway, but yes, let's continue.
Based on what Christ did for you on the cross, with arms outstretched and nail-pierced hands and blood flowing down, Jesus is saying to the people, I love you this much. I love you so much it hurts. I'd rather die than live without you. That's how much Christ loves you.
I'd rather die than live without you. See, the reason why I went through this crazy journey being in a cult, not knowing what the fuck it was real anymore. I'm a victim of child sexual abuse on account of the cult. It happened several times, and my mother caught it the first time, and she never told a soul. There has been a boiling anger in me for predators. It took me years to understand what the anger was, where, at what. Because certain things are normalized when you're a child. Pain is, and you grow up in anxiety and pain, it's normal to you until you realize one day that you're facing dysfunction everywhere around you. And there was just a point where I remember praying to God that, like, I feel this compulsion, like, to want to talk to Jesus, but I don't feel any trust anymore. And there were several key moments and things that happened in my life that were negative that had to happen to bring me to my understanding of Jesus' suffering, of understanding what it's like to remain loving towards people who persecute you. That is the only way when we die. If you want to be as close as to the divine God as possible, you have to be able to suffer pure and utter ostracism physically, mentally, and spiritually, and never lose your love, because you understand the assignment. And if I had not been born in that cult, I would not have had to face such an unnatural level of abuse for I'll say 21 years of my life until I started waking up. Then it was a 10-year struggle to get out. But I had to be faced with the ultimate decision of being totally and utterly alone, entering into society to keep my daughters free of the abuses of the cult. I had to be willing to give up everything and everyone and take on this wicked persona from my family's perspective. I mean, I'm telling you, I've been in a building of 3,000 people, and every single one of them know that I am disfellowshipped. I am to be shunned, because I was very prominent family, from a prominent family in the church as well, of course, because, you if y'all been watching, you know my story. So I had to endure 3,000 people look at the floor, ignore my very existence, and suffer this willingly 3 times a week for 2 years without missing a meeting, 3 of them a week, enduring all of this just to gain my family back. And like, I held such bitter angerness over using scripture over something that felt so abusive. But like, what just happened to the Rumble chat? Okay. So to me, it's no coincidence I find myself sitting here talking about the things that I talk about. I think I was born into a really unique situation at a unique time with a unique bloodline on both sides. And that suffrage is what made me feel close to Christ, because when he said, the day it clicked for me was when I was in recovery and someone said something to me about a scripture. They were like, I don't know what your religious beliefs is. LaFleur says, no wonder you have PTSD. I take back all the jokes I made about you being a crazy hairdresser. I didn't know. It's okay. So what am I going to visit at 3 a.m. with a baseball bat? LaFleur. So what was I saying? So basically that, someone said to me, like, that don't forget, like, I don't know what your religious beliefs are, but here's something that helped me. And what helped me was Jesus had said, if you follow me and to properly, you will be persecuted just like I am. And it hit me right then and there. I was like, holy shit, I am a Christian. And it was like, while I was trying to reject being a Christian, that moment made me realize you don't choose. God chooses you. And you don't pick your religion. It's God calls you, and it's not a religion. It's a knowing of being close to God on one level and feeling the presence of Christ on a way different level. It's like you can tell he knows what it's like to be us for real, for real. And then there's this other force that he brings you to. And then you have another epiphany of like, now I understand why he was saying, don't worship me. I'm not God. I'm just as much God as you are. And everyone likes to ignore those specific scriptures because we fall into the trap of idolizing and deitization of the human form of him, when the human form of him is not to be idolized or deitized. There's a difference in the earthly walk and the role he has now in heaven as a king, which is why we say Christ is king. He earned a theocracy. And what this whole problem is that we have going on in the world is that when we know we are being oppressed by the powers that be, it's so easy to focus on the 3D overlords in politics that oppress us, when we have forgotten that the whole entire point of the Bible, like why all these books from all these different writers, from all these different times, somehow all of these artifacts were able to be protected in a way to, for some reason, be all put together to equal up to a message that when the question is, why are the humans fucking up so bad over and over? Why do they keep doing this? Who has the right? Who has the right to rule over them? Themselves or one of us? what we forget from that part is everything in the middle. It's easy to remember Revelation and the doom and gloom. It's easy to remember the beautiful things in Psalms, but we forget what the early prophets who were Jewish were saying about the time ahead when Christ's time was to begin, was that the proper government that Jesus was showing anger and flipping money tables over inside the Jewish synagogue church, the point was theocracy is the proper governing body over humans. And you need to get it together. You guys are not getting it. Theocracy. Which is why I'm a constitutionalist. Because the Constitution was written based off of the Christian values of our founding fathers. So, I am a staunch constitutionalist because I am a staunch, spiritually connected person. I can't see that because of the light. A staunchly connected spiritual person who was brought to Jesus not through me making bad choices, but being subjected to pure evil. Anyway, so let's get on. I'm sorry. I got into a freaking Luna rant. Future Night says, thank you for sharing this, Luna. I think at times it's important for me to get a bit personal with you guys so you understand what motivates me to do this. And also like what the thirst trap thing is and all that stuff. But like, also so you guys know I'm not ever going to be bought and paid for because I have personal and emotional and spiritual collateral in all of this. All right. So let's get on to the next video. Erica's rise.
Kirk knew Trump before she knew Charlie. She actually won Trump's Miss Arizona pageant. Her parents are both from military intelligence family. Her dad did Raytheon arms deals with Israel, probably unrelated. And Erica Kirk was part of running an orphanage in Romania where children went missing. Enough children for Romania to permanently ban the orphanage and
Hey, Reality Pocket, can I get you in the chat about the connection? I know we had to like slow something down. If I could get your commentary on that. You said it yesterday.
Permanently ban Erica Kirk. Do you know how f***ed up you gotta be to get banned in Romania? Andrew Tate is the mayor there. You really gotta push some boundaries. Mind you, this is when Epstein was still active, so I'll let you connect the dots. By the way, I'm not suicidal. For the record, I am quite happy, okay? You heard it here.
It's fucking
But
crazy that people
Erica
have
Kirk,
to add that like, P.S., footnote, asterisk. It's freaking nuts, man.
she met Charlie Kirk, not on Christian Mingle.
Okay, so this is one of the things that I've been doing research on that like I just can't get out of my head. You can't convince me that she just coincidentally bumped into Charlie. Like now doing the research into Erica, like I feel like there might be a little bit of cognitive dissonance here happening. I think it's very clear because I think you guys need to watch that Sean Ryan episode about honeypot spies. It's fucking real, y'all. And this video, for some reason, is making me remind you guys that we're going to do a reaction to that entire podcast because that is what I think happened to Charlie. Don't hate me, y'all.
She went in to interview at his company, Turning Point USA.
I was accused of being a honeypot when I ran. Honeypots were sent to me, and I was having a little fun with it to see if it was that, and it certainly was. They were like, you want to see me wash my car with my shirt off? I was like, yeah, sure. And then, sure enough, I get emails about, do you know what your wife is doing? I was like, well, now I've confirmed that they are all in my shit. They thought I was a dumb little girl. They thought I was just dumb.
He said that he fell in love right away. Now, 4 years later, he's dead. And she has now inherited Turning Point USA. She's doing podcasts.
We're having trouble with
it
it too.
Like, I'm so excited. Like, to my future wife, please wait 2 months after I die before doing a podcast.
For real. It was such bad taste. Like, I don't know. I have my heart will like try to like make excuses for Erica's behavior because it's really hard. Y'all, my heart is like up about this shit. Like, But then the psych cat comes on, and I taught my class in university. Like, I helped my professors teach my class. So, like, I know my shit. And the reason why I know my shit is because I was infuriated at the dark psychology that I was born into. And so dark psychology tends to be my forte because I was born into a cult. Oh my God, I have goosebumps right now. And there's just things about, now I'm going to share something a little bit more, even more personal because it pertains to the story. And I'm sorry if this trigger warning for any of you, but the people who molested me when I was a child inside that church were women. They were women. Caretakers. And it's very shocking for people. So when I look at this situation, knowing what I've went through, there's just things in my soul that go off instinctually when I am around predators, especially of the female type. And now I'm not saying that Erica Kirk is a predator. But the one thing I have always learned in life is that the eyes never lie. Something is going on there. Something is up. And I feel like Candace is also being misled by Erica. I think that my alarm bells go off as a psychologist, as a person who's been around women who are predatory in any way, being in politics and being in a cult. And every alarm bell is starting to go off with her. And it has been. I was one of the first people that said that because I watched her walk off Air Force 2 leading Usha Vance by hand in the lead spot in the dominant position, while Usha Vance was like more dragging herself and looked more sad. And there's just been things, as someone who has lost someone very close to me, my son died in my arms. Like, there's just certain things when a piece of you and a soulmate, as Erica describes Charlie to be, is a piece of you. When a piece of you dies, there's this set of behaviors that's across the board when it comes to grief, because the qualifiers are different. Yes, everyone grieves differently, but you have to look at the situation. Who was the loss? Was this expected? Did they have time to prepare? Who was it to them? So there are certain things, given the gravity of this, that just I did not trust. And one thing, if you've heard my opening monologue, everything we experience is social engineering right now. And sometimes I wonder if Erica Kirk even knows if she's a part of it. In fact, that honeypot interview that I just watched, the girl was basically forced into it by her cult-minded Russian father, who was also in the military, who just said, this is what you're doing from birth because this is our legacy. And they put her in a special program. And it makes me wonder how many people are operatives in our country that even know they're operatives. Because it has been proven that if certain keywords are said to some of these sleeper cells, they'll fucking snap out of it and go home. Like, and I know this to be true as a psychologist. So, you know, it just makes me think about all that. Okay, what are we watching? Is this Instagram still? Okay. Did we finish this video?
3 months if it's my own.
Sorry
Come
to break
on.
the humor
You look
train.
at how fast she moved on, and then you look at how it started and how it ended. How it started was not romance. How it started was her going in for a job, and how it ended was her getting a promotion. So I'm just saying. It was
It's okay to say when it's a joke, right? You know? Future Night 40 says, we need more truth seekers and opposers like you, Luna. Thank you. Which is why I can't do it alone. We need an army of people who understand your natural rights and have a moral compass pointed north based in spiritual values. And I don't mean spiritual values in terms of like, I mean like, I don't mean like inclusive shit. I mean like what makes us a community. Like, I mean, where is the common ground? I'm talking about us as human beings and then us as Americans. And that's it. Like, we have work to do. We need to find the traitors at all levels. They're sitting in, sorry, my voice is hoarse. I've had a wild couple days, but we are sitting in a position where there are like 40 to 60, depending on the news sources, Muslims sitting in positions of lawmaking in our country. Not that I have a problem with Muslims, but my problem is our Constitution was founded. Actually, I'm not even going to say that I don't have a problem with Muslims. I really don't know what to say right now about that. I have a problem with what I see coming out of what I have a problem with anybody who comes up in my hunt for the pedophilic demon that crawls this earth. So moving on. I'm just going to get off on another rant. Let's just watch another woman who gets it. MTG. Gender affirming. I've been waiting on this because y'all know I lost my oldest baby. The baby that gave me purpose and meaning in the darkest time in my life when I was trying to get out of that cult. I lost my child to the motherfucking woke mind virus. Sorry if you don't like cussing. This is not the channel for you. But yeah, here we go. This makes me want to cry.
I'm excited to announce that my bill, Protect Children's Innocence Act, that criminalizes gender-affirming care on any minor under the age of 18, has passed the House of Representatives. So I would also like to thank 3 Democrats that voted to protect kids, Cuellar, Davis, and Gonzalez. Thank you so much for protecting children. Unfortunately, there were 4 Republicans that voted no and refused to protect kids. Those Republicans are Evans from Colorado, Fitzpatrick, Kennedy of Utah, and Mike Lawler from New York. I don't know why they can't protect kids, but that's too bad. But I'm still excited my bill passed, and it goes to the Senate next.
Now we got to get it to go to the Senate. So you know what that means? All of you, and I will be doing it, and maybe I will get my program set up here so you guys can hear me do it in real time. But we need to call all of our senators and we need to make sure that they vote for this, and we need to tell them our stories, because many of you, I have gotten, since maybe October, I've gotten 20 people message me on this topic, losing their children to this disgusting push to legalize pedophilia. That's really what the trans movement was. Right at a time when you had George Floyd happen. So get them racially incited. Lock them down in their houses, afraid to go out in public. Now you have children forced to be at home with parents who hate each other. They've just been using their jobs to get away from each other. So now these kids are not only, I saw it all on these virtual school days. You hear parents fighting in the background. You hear teachers losing their shit because everybody's got ADHD, and now it's even worse because it's virtual. And all while this is happening, these Gen Zers are having, through social media, commercials being pumped down their throat about transes. If you feel funny, if you're a tomboy, that means you should be a man. Pumped down their throats, all while I was taking a class at Harvard for children's rights. During COVID, I dropped out because they were trying to brainwash the students that the real enemy at home for children is the parents. And they compared them to Nazis. Yes, friends. So I did, just through this happening in my life with my daughter, who is also PTSD stricken from losing her brother, going through a divorce and watching the craziness of a cult. My daughter was vulnerable psychologically and emotionally, and having the white guilt bullshit shoved down their throat, being lied to about white guilt and slavery and not being told the facts about white-owned slaves. All of this happening to Gen Zers. I had to understand what was going on. Oh my God, you know what? It all made sense one day. There's a group, I will never breathe their name. It's up to you to do the research. But there's a group that is trying to legalize pedophilia. They are the ones behind the entire trans boom movement. Because if you can get a kid to decide what parts they want to have, then the next step is getting them to be allowed to decide what they do with said chosen parts. For example, the monstrosity Dylan Mulvaney, whatever the fuck his name is, he's fucking gross. I first saw him come out and just appear during that time talking about he identifies as a 14-year-old girl and just wants to have sleepovers. What in the ever-loving fuck? That was the moment that I realized it all. I was like, these are motherfucking pedophiles. And so, you know, a good simple Google search and being persistent and following the line of reasoning that isn't narrative but common sense brought me to the fact that there is a group that is trying to legalize pedophilia, and they have funded a lot of this trans influencers, the trans fucking bullshit. So let's watch my Rumble feed go bad because I'm telling the truth now about trans people. Like, let's hope that doesn't happen. But the Rumble feed has been super glitchy, and usually I just hit the refresh because something about the bit rate. We have to slow it down, I think, when we broadcast. Yeah, or they just don't like that I'm using OBS and I'm broadcasting on the other platform at the same time. But I got to, you know what I'm saying? Because I can't let Instagram go. These are the people that were with me since I ran for Congress. Did we finish this? No. I'm getting on rant. We did? Did we finish MTG's video? Yeah, we did. Okay. Did our government commit treason? I've been saying, where are the gallows? Oh my God, you saw what they did to Trump when Trump was like, that's treason. I understood what he meant when he said, that's treason worthy of, that's treason punishable by death. Do you guys not pay attention to like legal wording in anything the government gives you? Punishable by this, fined by up by that. It means the max is death. It's so a fear that the offense max is death. That's what he said, and everyone was like, oh, look at, he's calling for my death. God, barf city. Okay.
What I'm about to say will probably guarantee me an early grave, but fuck it, you need to know the truth. My name is Hunter Howell. I would never harm myself, and I have a document right here that proves the United States government committed treason against the American people. This document is no longer on the internet. It's since been scrubbed. So it'd be a shame if you shared this with as many people as possible to get the truth out there, because it's a very high chance they take this video down as well. Here's what this says, okay? It's a screenshot of the Department of Homeland Security's X account. There was a new feature that came out recently that talked about where it showed in the world where accounts were stationed in. So the USA Department of Homeland Security, their account is based in Tel Aviv. I'm not being satirical. I'm not fucking joking. Our Homeland Security account is based in Israel. When people were questioning them about it, they responded with a meme of the president looking surprised. And for those of you saying it's fake, there's another document here that I'll read to you because someone asked AI to analyze what was going on the internet. And it's confirmed. Yes, the DHS account briefly displayed location as based in Israel during a new feature rollout.
I actually saw that. Crazy enough. I've been noticing things like that. When I ran for Congress, there were different things that were sticking out to me that made me go, I wonder about this. I wonder about that. And so there's a reason why I'm so very America only. Our allies should have nothing to do with monitoring anything. They should just be available for our beck and call. Since they get so much of our dollars, they should be our lapdogs, you know, taking care of American citizens, not monitoring. In fact, we should be monitoring them so we can be sure that our dollars are being used in a way that American citizens find acceptable. In fact, we should be monitoring their intelligence pages. Silicon Valley, wake up and get your heads out of the fucking grass, because all of you are talking to fucking spies out there. Now I know it. I had suspicions, but now I know it.
Possibly due to a glitch or IP data. That's AI's explanation of it all. It just possibly a glitch. And you can't see it anymore.
No, because
my call to action,
now that it's been caught, they're going to erase it from evidence and just say that anybody that has a picture, it's fake, and, you know, gaslight you about it ever being that way. But it shouldn't be a surprise, because if you've been watching anything Candace Owens has been showing you, she is discovering in real time real proof and evidence of what a lot of boomers who were into this, who do what we do, knew. And that it's not just Israel, it's several countries that seem to be using us. I'm trying to be fake. You know what? My brain is going like, hold on, Luna. Just wait a minute. Wait. Just comment on it. Don't explain too much. I just think that so much is obvious, and they gaslight you into questioning what you're noticing. But I can tell you, as someone who's 40 years old, this tracks. This very much tracks. I've got a lot of history I've been keeping track of. I started listening to Alice Jones when I was 10 with my dad, whose great uncle was a vice president. So I trusted my dad because we were the black sheep. We defected.
File tax exempt. Share this video with hundreds of people, not just 5 of your friends, with everyone you know. You need to know this document right here could, quite literally what I'm saying, could be the end of me. But you need to know that our government is committing treason, and that the way to fight back peacefully is by filing tax exempt. My name is Hunter Howell. I'm sending you my love. Please protect me by 3 buttons over here. What I'm about to say.
Listen to that. Why do you trust Uncle Sam anymore? Why? If you are not owning your own business at this point, you are doing it all fucking wrong. All wrong. Support your local businesses, people. Patriots. Americans. People that you can prove are citizens. Don't support any fucking business that is funding any other country in any way. Don't do it. I'm telling you, this is spiritual. We have to hang on. All right. This is going to be controversial. Is Charlie Kirk alive? This is on TikTok.
So I think we're all starting to believe that Charlie Kirk is still alive.
This is 5 minutes,
because
so
it's
hang
the
in there, and
only
I'm going to mute
logical
my mic.
explanation that makes sense. Why would Candace be so happy after meeting with Erica Kirk? It's not like Erica Kirk revealed something meaningful to her about the investigation, or why she thinks that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. That's making Candace feel comfortable and happy now, because she still doesn't think it's Tyler Robinson, right? The only thing that makes sense is that Charlie's alive. The whole thing was staged. It was all bullshit. Charlie never died. That's why there were no police, no ambulances, not a real investigation, nothing. The whole reason that Erica Kirk is like, can we please just keep his body? Is it so weird that we haven't buried him over a month? It's crazy weird, but it's not weird if he's alive. None of this is weird if Charlie Kirk is alive.
Did you guys see the video of, I cannot remember what the influencer's name is, but he wears like a lab coat and like those steampunk like glasses, and he like tests theories, basically. That's the whole gimmick. Like, that's his shtick. I really like him. So he got the guy with the beard that was actually, he looked a lot like the guy that was there. I don't know. Seeing Charlie that day. But anyway, he showed like the movie effects, makeup. And I used to be in Atlanta. I used to be around, I've been an extra in a movie. I'm not going to say what one it is. I've been in music videos and all that stuff. And so I've seen some special effects makeup, and I'm telling you, it's just funny that I'm seeing this video now. Interesting. So remember, it's like, that's kind of, sometimes I feel like it's wishful thinking, but I did notice how remarkably happy Candace was. And I just assumed that was because Erica didn't tell her to stop doing what she was doing. And I think Candace is so loyal of a friend to Charlie that even if she doesn't agree with Erica, she would honor Erica's requests by proxy of being loyal to Charlie, if that makes sense. But so I thought she was just happy, but I did notice like there's a different pep in her step. But whatever it is, I'm here for it, because I've been championing her investigation. Makes sense. Y'all know I would fucking say it, because there's times when I criticize fucking Trump. No one can be right about everything, and I'm prepared for her to be wrong about certain things. She's proven to me that she knows what the fuck she's doing. And this is just divine. You can't be a best friend of a man that was a martyr and think that he had bad decisions in who his best friends were. If you think that she's a bad person and you think he made a mistake being close to her, then you have to give her claim of Charlie making bad character judgments within his organization. You have to give her claim credit by your own logic. So by common sense logic, he's going to make mistakes, but overall the man was following a divine call. And along the way, God gives you people who are equipped to help the task carry out. And sometimes, and I'm used to this, like, I guess I get Candace because I've always been that like anti-hero role. Like, I'm the one that's easy to hate on. Because look at her, she looks like a hoe and she's this, that, and the other. And it's like always the first go-to, and I just don't give a fuck. So I've just been leaning into it. You know what I'm saying? But when they go after you for things that really don't matter like that, that's when you know that you're making a freaking difference.
Alive. All of this makes sense. Everything makes sense if Charlie Kirk is alive and was the flight out of Utah that Charlie was on. Then it all makes sense. Then everything is just one big hoax, one big spectacle, and we don't have to think the worst of everyone because Charlie Kirk is actually alive, and this is just a political stunt. And then you got to ask yourself, well, why would they want to fake Charlie Kirk's death? Maybe Charlie Kirk was under a real threat. Maybe Israel
that's
was
like
threatening
Tupac
Charlie Kirk's
and
life,
Biggie and shit.
which I think Andrew Clovet admitted to when he said it was supposed to be you.
No, I think that at least one of them died. But I remember this rumor or this hope went around about like Tupac's not really dead. Just that he knew. And funny story, both Tupac and Biggie are both survivors of the same cult that I was born in. They were both ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. Selena, George Benson, Prince got converted into it. I think that was because he was trying to atone for his sins. And I whatever. There's a lot to, so Kendrick Lamar is an ex-JW, Childish Gambino. So there's this certain level of thinking you have when you escape a cult that makes you able to like spot the bullshit in people. So I got a good judge of character, and I could see Charlie shows obviously I can't diagnose him, but just observing his behavior and what I can observe of him publicly, there are some reasons why I suspect he could possibly be ADHD on the spectrum and ADHD. So I would think he'd be brilliant enough to figure out exactly how to do this, especially if you are acutely aware of how the smoke and mirrors work, if you will.
Not Charlie Kirk. And Candace is under threat as well. But I
agree, Reality Pocket. I just think this is desperate. I think Charlie has died, but I'm just musing with them, Reality Pocket. I mean, I could tell I could tell that wasn't AI. I've been around death, not of a human, but of animals being shot. And there's just this, I could tell it wasn't fake. It wasn't AI. There's this. Plus, I felt it spiritually. That's the other thing. I know he's dead because I felt it. You all felt it. We felt that. We felt it. But let's muse.
Charlie Kirk's death, so that Israel would be like, oh, okay, well, I guess somebody else caught him. And that's why Israel came out and was like, it wasn't us. It wasn't us.
That was crazy,
guys.
how fast
So excited because it wasn't them. It was our government protecting somebody who was speaking out against Israel.
Somebody just superimposed like Candace and Erica together as if they had a baby. Oh my God. This is terrifying and I don't like it. Can we get it off the screen? Ew. I don't like the vibes that gives. It just confirms about those eyes, and it also confirms that Candace is good, because Candace just, when I just saw that softened Erica in a way. But the thing that wasn't removed was, dude, the eyes don't lie. There's a reason why they're the window to the soul. The eyes don't lie. Something's not right there, man.
Because he messed up. He didn't follow the technique of Trump. Yes, we do everything Israel wants. Stand up, Miriam Adelson. Stand up. I want everyone to see the person who thinks that Israel is more important than America. Trump is drawing as much attention to this as possible. And the only logical explanation for him being so conspicuous with this Israel propaganda is so that it works. Because he can't. Remember, he's under threat. I told you.
One thing I know, regardless of the fact, is that Israel is tied to it. I mean, when you look at who the pastor is and who he's tied to, like, there's just undeniable things that we should be able to speak about and not be called fucking stupid names because we're just speaking on what the math is. That's the beauty of math. Truth. Math is the language of God. That's the reason why the movie The Matrix was constructed this way. The Gnostics actually believed in something called Spia, which was what was portrayed as the Matrix, the code of zeros and ones. So when you realize that, like, oh man, what did I say right before that? The sentence right before I read a comment that got me off track. What did I just say? Shit. Just that math is the language of God, and God is truth. God is love. God is power, justice, wisdom, and all the above. And you can't suppress truth because that is where God resides. And no matter how you look at all these situations, it keeps tying right back to the Zionist movement of Israel in some way, shape, or form. And we need to have discussions about that, because if the true Jewish people are to be protected from the corruption in their politics, wouldn't you want to help assist them in that? In the ones that are trying to hang on to their traditional belief system that they actually believe that they aren't supposed to have a state, that are actually trying to make amends with Yahweh, their God, like, that are trying to follow the path. But this Zionism, like, really is like, it's kind of like the scandals with Catholicism versus people who really truly take it to heart. The scandals with cult evangelicals versus those who really do need something that strict on the Protestant level, because they're that wild. Like, everything isn't all bad and everything isn't all good. Everything is both. And we need to accept this. And if we can't accept this, then yes, we will not be allowed to talk about what makes us uncomfortable. But being able to talk about the realities of what has been prophesied when it comes to the Zionist state will help us actually achieve success, achieve safety, achieve better for not only ourselves, but them as well. A removing of the cancer that plagues their people. Because clearly you see a demonic influence in the Middle East. There is something ancestrally wrong over there. And there is a reason why Jesus' message was the farthest reaching message across the planet. So I don't know. I don't think this guy's going to be able to convince me, because I felt that Charlie's death was a necessary evil in the grand scheme of things, because God needs his warriors to start waking the fuck up.
Like a year ago when he first got elected and he didn't do anything he campaigned on, none of it. I was like, oh shit, Trump is terrified of Israel. He is scared of Israel. And for good reason. They're the ones with the secret nukes. No one else gets to have secret nukes but Israel. They could already be here. Trump is under serious threat. Serious threat. And so is our country. And he knows that. I'm not saying that Trump is a good person, or Candace is, or Erica Kirk is. None of that matters. These are just actors in state affairs. These are actors.
I think he's dead
in
too.
the balance of power of the world. But Erica Kirk knows she got on that.
He's not a coward. Exactly. The production just took the thoughts out of my head. Charlie was a warrior. He's dead. He said he would die for what was right. I mean, and he knew the possibility was coming, sad to say. And he still had his, oh my God. He's truly inspirational. He truly is an inspirational person. And there's nothing about him that you can like dig up that's horrible. Like there's things you can dig up about JFK and Martin Luther King and like, you know, but Charlie, really, you could tell this truly was his calling. And I see him very much like the 144,000 people that are light workers that are supposed to rule as kings and priests in heaven. And I think he was one of those people. There was just something different about him. He has a crown up there. He knew and understood so many finite differentiations in the scripture that me coming out of a cult, I was like shocked to see someone else who never grew up in a cult understand the scriptures that way. I was like, this is crazy, because people like Kendrick Lamar, Tupac, you start hearing what they're talking about. You see like that there's always this certain catalyst in my experience that leads to these certain epiphanies, but Charlie never grew up in a cult. To me, that tells me he was born a light worker, came here as was an angel before, agreed to inhabit a body. This happens. The scriptures say that angels and demons walk among us. He was an angel just like Jesus did, said, all right, fine, I'll inhabit a body. Let me do this assignment. It's your assignment as a human to wake up and realize what your calling is. We all have them. We all agree. We all take a contract before we become conscious in the womb. And it is up to you to realize what that contract is. That contract is always about how to ascend to the highest level of divinity. It's always about how to get close to God, to be in the realm of God, to be with God. The Bible actually talks about 7 different heavens. So this is the highest order, the heaven we all talk about, that. And I just think he was already a king and priest up there and was like, you know what? All right. I know this is going to end ugly, but this is the job. I got to make them realize that they are no longer I need to rip the duct tape off their mouths. They've all been gagged. So Jesus came to teach us and remind us that through all the laws and confusion, just remember to do the loving thing. Charlie was here to teach us. Don't forget to use your fucking voice. You have one for a reason. Animals don't have this kind of communication for a reason. It is the tool in which God uses each other to connect to each other, and that can be through the devil or through the divine. But realize Your free speech is what keeps you free. It's what keeps you accountable. It's what keeps you rooted in being bonded. Don't get me started on another tangent. What is it tonight? I'm on tangent after tangent. Amen, Florida. Says. Yes, it's very simple. Walk by faith. And walking by faith is not, oh, I have to prove to you every day why I'm worthy of salvation because I just have this now ingrained narcissistic complex where I feel like I am totally worth nothing and I have to constantly prove my worth. There is no sky daddy on a throne waiting to throw a lightning bolt at you to send you to a place where his enemy is going to punish you for doing exactly what his enemy wanted you to do in the first place. That makes no fucking sense. This is hell. Earth, the Hebrew word Sheol, actually literally translates in English to cover over. In fact, early farmers would say they would hell their potatoes. So the word Sheol translates to hell in English, which actually means to cover over, in brackets with dirt. Growing up in a cult, I had to understand the Hebrew language on a level that I really wasn't interested in, but was forced upon me. And so what I've learned is earth and hell it was made into this place of like utter terror. And really, truly what it is when you die and you don't ascend is you die and you become dust again and go back to the earth like Genesis explains, and you redo it because earth is the school ground. It's the playground. Some of my listeners on the show 2 nights ago was bringing John Killuminati was on, and he was talking about like how the frequency of blue is 666, and a lot clicked to me in that moment, and I could not verbalize it, but everyone was watching me go totally like silent for a minute. And what I realized was our atmosphere is blue. What they told me was blue, and I looked it up and they're right, is the frequency of blue is 666. Blue is immune to high density plasmic rays. Well, if 666 represents so much hell things to Christians, right? Here's the metaphysical tie. The blue atmosphere, which is protecting us from solar plasmic cosmic rays as well, which is immune to them. Interesting. We must be in hell. There's just, so many physical clues, language. It's actually a daunting task when you really start to realize when you start to get the inkling of what it takes to like wake up fully from this system of things. I would say it took me a good 10 years of studying psychology, socioeconomics, world history, mathematics, quantum physics, metaphysics, myth and tradition, linguistics, and migration patterns of humans and politics to really understand what the fuck is going on. And that's a really long way to say we are the object of something's envy. And we have a right to be in the order of the divine angels because we are made from God's image. There's just something unique that we are the 3D manifestation of how energy became self-aware and organized itself so God could have a first person's perspective of everything. The Gnostics believed that, which in my opinion, were the most correct Christians. They were the most early Christians, and they were the most slaughtered Christians, all but extinct. It's making a slight comeback because of what people are realizing about Judeo-Christianity. But the early Gnostics understood that where there is up, there is down. Where there is left, there is right. Where there is light, there is dark. Where there is God, there is the devil. That it is the same side of two different sides of the same coin. and that if the kingdom of God is within you, then so is hell, the psychological torment that the Catholic Church tried to make a realistic 3D thing. That is really a place of consciousness. Now, this is our chance here on earth to realize our destiny and show where our alliances lie. Because this is not a human problem. Our alliance issues are lying in realms that are above the third dimension, the fourth and on up to what they believe, last I've read, was the 13th. So where's your allegiance to what is high vibrational and light or low vibrational and dark? But either way, it comes from within you. And it's up to you to find your purpose. And Charlie was one of those ones that I think was a creature of light, an Elohim that inhabited a human body that came to take the duct tape off of the slaves. Are you still with me on that rant? All right. Trump is our first Jewish president. Boo.
6 years ago, I was up here, and I said, this is our first Jewish president. Now he's the first Jewish president to serve two not consecutive presidencies. We thank you for everything. 6 years ago, I was up here.
Ew. Ew. Well, now you can confirm your suspicions. At this stage in the game, what I'm realizing is the same thing I've realized about Charlie Kirk. Trump's a lot like King David. He's a flawed man, and God has used him for his strengths, not for his weaknesses. But he has weaknesses. And clearly, it's not being like me who would say, hey, Israel, fuck you. I got homeless veterans who need my attention. Go away. Yeah. I would form the most badass security team for my country. I would flush the military like no other. You want to see controversy? If Luna were to be president, the military would be cleaned out on a level that you couldn't even imagine. That's where my controversy would end up. Because whoever has the guns and the money is who has the power. But mostly, whoever has the guns has the power. So I know exactly where to look when I see where everything went wrong. I know exactly where to look. When the Jehovah's Witness cult, I found out one of their highest stocks that they owned, they're supposed to be not even investing in anything because they didn't allow any of their church members to do that. But I found out that the owners of the Jehovah's Witnesses have a ton of stock in Raytheon, a war company. Not shocking. The founder of our religion, Charles Taze Russell, was a 33rd degree Mason who founded a Judeo-Christian evangelical doomsday cult who invests in Raytheon. What are you preparing for? What are you guys preparing for? What the fuck is going on? We know. So the military would be the first place I would start vetting everyone down to the most menial grunt, fry cook, janitor, don't care. The spies are out. The loyalists, I'm looking for patriots. I don't care if you're a stripper. I don't care if you're a convict. I don't care if you're 200 pounds. I don't care if you're The Rock. If you are fucking staunch patriotic, you're getting a gun. Last video, guys. Liberal media lying again.
Bet you haven't heard anything about this story. There was a standoff today in Sioux Falls between a 28-year-old man and the police after making terroristic threats. And after an early morning standoff to which the man live streamed on Facebook, he was finally arrested and taken into custody and now faces charges of making a terrorist threat, possessing controlled substances, and obstructing law enforcement. And this is what the media had to say about it. Sioux Falls man charged with making terrorist threat. I want to pause here. Just take a second with me. Look at that photo. You got it? You good? You good? Now I'm going to show you the mugshot of the man. I want you to guess, just guess as to what this individual perhaps looked like compared to the photo that the media put on the cover of their article. Everybody meet Mohammed Mansouri, the 28-year-old man who made threats, endangering people. This is who the article was actually about.
You know why?
But this is the person that they put the photo.
You know why?
For
And
the
this
front.
is what brought Candace, to her rise to fame, because she was telling the truth about like things in the Black community. They don't want anyone. They want you to feel white guilt. They don't want the Black community to get any better, and stop being violent and carrying out. Like seriously, they hold they're responsible for the most crime, and it's highly on their own people. They have no interest in bringing attention to that, because if attention was brought to that culturally, globally, bald-faced, they would be held accountable to do better. So by causing white guilt, you both cripple two races, two cultures, we'll say, and you lead to the destruction of the youth. And these elites have been saying in our faces that they're trying to depopulate. Even Kamala said it. And yes, Reality Pocket, defund the media. When I ran for Congress, that was my platform. Defund, deregulate, delegislate. Done. We are not free. This has been an illusion. Real freedom? Sorry, I think we lost it like as soon as the the industrial era hit. Like being able to stand on your front porch and someone sit there and tell you they're gonna, my posse's gonna come take all your cattle. Back then, 1800s, 1700s and back, yeah, pop them between the eyes and everybody understood fucking why. And you had enough land to go fucking bury them. Now it's, you gotta prove that without a doubt you had a fear for your life in that very fucking moment. You can't even prevent a disaster from happening. You have to just wait for it to happen in today's world. That's not right.
The article of. Frankly, at this point, I don't know how anybody just doesn't trust the media. How do you look at this vote? How do you do that? That's not just an ignorant mistake. That's not just oopsie daisy. That is intentional. That's intentional. Well, I bet you haven't heard anything about this story. There was a standoff today in Sioux Falls between a 28-year-old man and the police.
This is devastating. This is devastating what just happened. This makes me mad what just happened. At least that was the end of the show. And I'm glad y'all freaking stuck with me till we figured out what the fuck was wrong, because y'all just missed some gold, but that just means y'all, it wasn't ready. Spirit was like, the internet is not ready for what you're fucking dropping on them, Luna. Ooh, there goes my arm. That was fucking divine intervention right there, what I was just talking about. I just don't think we were at that point. So, let me just let y'all know the audio is fixed. Weird. Because I didn't mute me. And producer Ryan was not there. Yikes, stripes. Ooh. There's been a buzz in the air around me the last 2 days. Like, one thing I've noticed in this house is that I need to start. I think men are able to take a lead in like the divine masculine way, which I think they're like very plugged into our environment, the earth, our surroundings, but I think women are definitely plugged into the psyche, and we are the ones that really need to focus on spiritually cleansing, spiritually vibing, spiritually furthering our homes, because there's such a intrinsic thing about spirituality that requires, like, I guess, a certain level of like nurturing to be able to know how to teach grace and understanding what people aren't saying, because that's kind of what the relationship is between us and God. And these last couple days, I've just realized, like, I'm so spiritually connected, yet I've been so lacking and not sharing with my family, like, what I've learned in how to use my spiritual body. And I think something just happened here. I don't know what muted the show. And I just think that was not meant for you guys to say. And Seth, you can absolutely be like, hey, your audio's out. Somebody like, hello, I don't know. I hate that I can't see like gifts, but next time send like the red alarm siren light emoji. If you guys start sending that, I'll know something's wrong. All right. I don't know what's happening over here because of the audio. But this is not even my longest show. When they cut me off, it was like 2 hours, I think, or 2.5 hours. It wasn't quite 3, but that was when I did that 3-hour show. All right. So anyway, before I go into my monologue, my closing monologue, I'm going to announce the fan of the day. All right. The fan of the day is, can you all guess? It's Seth Lafleur. Yay. So Seth, if you contact producer Ryan, so it's Ryan.Lopez86, just message him and let him know how you want my autographed show notes sent to you. All right. Are y'all listening? Like Florida just did. Oh, what? The alarm bells? I didn't see the alarm bells. They look a little... Oh, yeah, that thing. Yeah, it looks like a lipstick over here. But now I'll know what it means. Okay. All right. And so, folks, as we close tonight, I want to leave you not with fear, but with remembrance. Because this war we've been talking about, it didn't begin with cable news. It didn't begin with social media. And it didn't begin with governments or agencies or institutions. It's ancient. It is the same war that has been fought since the first lie was whispered into a human ear. The war between truth and deception, light and shadow, clarity and confusion. In the old world, our ancestors understood this. They didn't call it media literacy or psychological operations. They called it discernment. They knew that whoever controlled the story controlled the people, and that whoever girded the soul could never truly be conquered. That wisdom has not left us. It has only been buried beneath the noise. You feel it when something doesn't sit right. You feel it when a headline pulls too hard at your emotions. You feel it when outrage is demanded before understanding is allowed. That feeling, that is your spirit knocking. Because evil does not announce itself. It seduces, it distracts, it confuses. It tells you to react quickly, to choose sides instantly, and to stop questioning and start repeating. Good does the opposite. Good whispers. Good invites reflection. Good withstands scrutiny. And good does not fear the light. And you fear good in your gut all the time. This is why keeping your mind free is not just intellectual. It's sacred. You know, that gut feeling, that's instinct. That's eons of ancestors' DNA encoded into your subconscious. A free mind can't be herded. A grounded soul cannot be hypnotized. A discerning heart cannot easily be deceived. You aren't meant to consume the world's pain endlessly. And sometimes it feels that way, but I'm here to tell you you're not. You aren't meant to carry manufactured outrage like a badge of honor. You are not meant to surrender your inner compass to strangers behind the scenes. You are meant to see clearly. So when narratives clash, just pause. When emotions are inflamed, just breathe. When truth is buried beneath noise, listen deeper. The old path teaches us this. Light does not shout. Truth does not panic. Wisdom does not rush. And here's the part I want you to carry with you into the days ahead. Evil feeds on division, but it starves in the presence of discernment. It feeds on fear. There's a demon that goes by the name of Barbas. He's the demon of fear. Prayers are angel food. They are obligated to respond to your prayers. And just like angels have angel food, demons have demon food. It withers. Fear will wither in the face of courage. It feeds on confusion, but it can't survive clarity. You don't fight this war by becoming cruel. You fight it by becoming awake. You ever notice how the left seems to just only know how to launch cruelties? They're zombies. They're programmed, lost to the darkness. By loving truth more than comfort, you will be awake. By honoring God more than narratives, you will be awake. By guarding your thoughts as carefully as you guard your home, you will remain awake. Because the real stronghold is not a government building. It's the human mind. And if they cannot claim your mind, they cannot claim your soul. So gently go, but go awake. Question, but don't harden your heart. See the darkness, but don't let it extinguish your light. You are not here by accident. This moment isn't random, and your awareness is part of the resistance. And that lantern is lit now. So walk wisely, walk humbly, and above all, do not let them take your sight. I love all of you. Let me look at the comments real quick before I say goodnight. Hey, Mary. Thanks to have you, albeit at the inn. Backwater says, damn, that's deep as fuck. This hits home, Luna. Thank you. I'm glad that it hits home with you. I feel that a lot of us are starting to relate to oppression. And we need to realize that love produces all things. Love does not mean submission to evil. And sometimes this is why we need real men to make a comeback, because we're going to need you guys to go Donkey Kong on the evil. We're going to need the muscles. All men, stay in the gym, stay battle ready. Stay battle ready always. Protect women and children, especially women and children. And when old people speak to you, you bask in the gracious moment that is. Because old folks, like 70, 80-year-old, those are some fucking gangsters, man. They survived all motherfucking odds. You better fucking respect them and listen when they motherfucking speak. And you take care of them as they age, because they become like children again. All of us 30 and 40, 50 and 60-year-olds, we have a responsibility right now to right what has been stolen from us. Always train your children to trust their gut instinct, because that's the only thing you can trust when your head and your heart argue all day long. And teach them to pray. I don't care if they're praying to a fucking rock. God knows how to get through to them. All your job is as a parent is to teach them how to be a spiritual person, to have a spiritual mind, and to see the messages of God. And they come in all fucking forms. So anyway, Seth, make sure you hit producer Ryan for how we can get that to you. And I love all of you to pieces. Thank you for coming and hanging with me tonight. Miss Mary, thank you for the amen. And stay safe. Look for opportunities to be of service for others, no matter how they might no matter how that might present. And with that, I bid you adieu. Good night.